Welcome everyone, this is Zozo StockWatch, and this is your StockWatch list for Friday, October 20th. Alright, let's go ahead and get into some of the news that came out in the after hours tonight, and I'll go ahead and reduce the size of this. Sorry about that. So we'll go ahead and get into the news that came out after the bell tonight. We had some earnings come out after the bell, and we had some news by this AVGR. First patient enrolled in its IDE study. All right, so AVGR, and big pop there, under 50-cent name popped and then kind of pulled back and then just went sideways in the after hour. But big pop there on AVGR. Next one up, we had HA, Hawaiian Airlines. And that stock popped a little bit but pulled back on their earnings per share beat and revenue miss. ATHN, that one, we had an earnings per share and revenue miss, and that stock went down in the after hours. Next up for some news after the bell is SKX, earnings per share beat and revenue beat. So SKX was up and pushing up in the after hours, and I'll just well, I'll show you the daily in a second, but this stock was beaten down and now it's pushing up nicely in the after hours tonight. So that one might be one you want to watch tomorrow for a possible play, you know, if the shorts are going to get hit in SKX, and I'll talk more about that as we get in the stocks to watch. IMDZ, let's see if that one did anything in after hours. Not too much. They had some news, announces G100's receipt of orphan drug designation. So that was on IMDZ, but not much reaction. E-Trade Financial, ETFC, they had earnings and that stock went down in the after hours. They had an earnings per share beat and revenue in line. ISRG, earnings per share and revenue beat, ISRG, and as you can see, we had a big pop in that name, then it reversed and went down on those earnings. It might have been the conference call or something. PayPal also had earnings after the bell, PYPL, and that stock popped and trailed off a little bit, but it did hold most of its gains. I saw SQ up also in the after hours in sympathy to PayPal. WD40, WDFC, that stock not doing too much in the after hours on their earnings per share beat and revenue miss. PayPal guided up. Next one we had for earnings was TACO, TACO, in line and on earnings per share in line and on revenues, and that stock went down. And TACO, TACO, was down on after hours. BANF, earnings per share miss, BANF, and that stock actually climbed in the after hours. Next up, we had news on Celgene. It got halted, then it reopened at 5 o'clock, and Celgene gapped down from 136 all the way down to about 126, so about a $10 drop there in Celgene. And Celgene has decided to stop the trials following an October recommendation of the data monitoring community, which assessed overall benefit risk during recent interim futility analysis. There were no meaningful safety imbalances identified in the analysis. So, you know, some news that came out on Celgene after the bell. Celgene discontinues phase 3 trial of Crohn's disease drug, and that was from CNBC. And this news is courtesy of the Trade Exchange newsroom. Just to give you a heads up, next week a lot of Dow components and a lot of big names reporting earnings next week. So those are some of the bigger names reporting. And then if we scroll on through for the news, David Tepper was out talking about MU, and the stock was up 2% in the after hours. Big pop from David Tepper on MU. DRRX was halted. All right, and then NBIX COO interim CFO resigns. DRXX expecting top line phase 3 data. So let's check out that one. Let's see if that did anything. That one dropped in the after hours, so not too good there on DRRX, which opened out of the halt. And then ETFC, did we look at that one? We'll just check it out again. Yeah, that one was down in the after hours. Some syndicate news, CAPR filed Form 42B5. All right, so CAPR down in the after hours. MBVX Form S3. And that one up a tad in the after hours. And PBMD filed Form F3, not doing too much in the after hours. BPMX filed Form S1, and that stock dropped in the after hours. So that's some of your stocks and news that came out after the bell. If we go ahead and we'll look at some of the stocks that were some big gainers today: QURE, IMMY, GNMX, and we actually played this one today in the service, GNMX. ADHD, RGSE, we played this one also today. Adobe Pop today. Zedge, a small little name, was up today. For the losers, we had IMNP, OPTT after they did that offering. They were down. UAL after their earnings got knocked down. MZOR was a downgrade today, and so that stock was down. And that's pretty much it for the stocks in the in the top losers for the day. If we go ahead and look at some of the call option activity: KMI, Teva, Roku, ROKU, LC, KOS, HAIN, and Fold all had some call activity to the put side. We had FCX, MET, MU, and HIMX, and that was to the put side. For the calendar events for tomorrow, for Friday, we do have Yellen speaking tomorrow, and then we have 2 o'clock, we have Fed speak, Loretta Mester. Janet Yellen is at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we have at 10 o'clock existing home sales. 1 o'clock we have the Baker Hughes rig count. Some companies reporting earnings before the bell tomorrow for Friday, October 20th is AIMC, BHGE, BLX, CFG, CLF reporting earnings after the before the bell. GE, General Electric, GNTX, HON, KSU is a railroad, Procter & Gamble, Schlumberger, SLB, STI, and SYF. So some big names tomorrow before the open. Curious to see how Cliff CLF does, and also on Honeywell and General Electric, to see the reactions there on those names. So those are some of the earnings after before the bell tomorrow for Friday. Some of your conference calls for Friday at 8 a.m. You see we have Schlumberger, Kansas City Southern. Also in the 9 o'clock hour we have IBKC, and we have CFG. Cliff is in the 10 o'clock hour, CLF. Also in the 10 o'clock hour, I don't see any bigger names, so I think that's about it tomorrow for your conference calls, and that is a courtesy of the earnings cast. Okay, so that's your conference calls. Currently for the overnight futures, it's about 7:46 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:46 p.m. Eastern Time, my time. The Dow futures are up about 2, the Nasdaq futures down about 3, and the S&P futures flat basically. In commodities, gold is up almost $3 in the evening session right now. Crude oil is trading WTI 51.41, up about 12 cents, and trading 0.23% positive. So that's for crude oil WTI. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the market action today. We had the SPY. It came down to about below the 10 SMA, but recovered nicely. Bulls came in and bought the dip. So we are back above the 10 SMA on the SPY. We'll see what Friday, tomorrow, has in store for us. On the IWM, didn't fare as well, but we did hold the 20 SMA. So the IWM did that push down to the 20 SMA, and buyers came in around that 148 level. They held that, so that's the number to watch for tomorrow. The lows are around 148.17 for the IWM. On the IWC, this one pushed down to about $94.24, so we'll keep an eye on that for tomorrow. IWC is the micro cap fund. IBB And I would imagine with Celgene news coming out in the overnight, and here's a IBB pushing down in the after hours. So this is going to be lower in the morning for the IBB. And also probably for the XBI, which was down a tad in the after hours because of that Celgene news. All right, and Celgene, like we said, gapped down about $10 in the after hours. Next up, we'll take a quick look at the Qs. And the Qs moved down below the 10 SMA, didn't recover as nicely as the SPY, so a little bit more weakness here in the QQQ. And we'll see what they want to do with that. And then, some names we have to keep an eye on. Amazon, after making that push up towards 1,000, basically pulled back, but it's still holding above the 50 on Amazon, but not a very good, candle here and reaction to it here. So next up, we have Google, and getting back below, or holding the 10 SMA, I should say, on the daily, but not a pretty chart right now. NVIDIA held up nicely, held the 10 SMA, trying to still get back above that 200 SMA. Facebook, a little bit of a pullback, but holding the 10 SMA on Facebook. Netflix, this one also pulled back to about the 20 SMA, and kind of a hammer candle here on Netflix. And lastly, take a quick look at Tesla after trying to break out over that 360 area. All right, and here's our lines, trying to break out over that 360. So it might have been a little bit of a fake breakout here, and now we're pulling back, and we're trying to hold this 350 spot, 350 area on Tesla on this name. All right, so that's some of the bigger names. Let's go ahead and get right into the watch list. And remember, tomorrow's Friday. Don't overtrade. AKS and the steel names, they're hanging in there, kind of like this X and AKS. If X can get back over, the 200 or 28 here, that one looks pretty good. AKS also, trying to break out and move out over this 150 SMA, the orange dotted line. But don't forget, CLF has earnings in the morning, so that's going to definitely tell what's going to happen with X and AKS. So keep an eye on that for tomorrow. Next up, we have BIOA, a small little name, under $1 name, but it is holding above the 50 SMA here. It's back above the 10 SMA. We had a high in the name of 66 cents. 7 million shares came in. Maybe it wants to fill this gap up to about $1 on BIOA. So keep an eye on that one if you play those under $1 names. BMY, holding this 64 area on BMY, trying to get back over the 10 SMA, but we're going to have to see if Celgene, affects all of these names. And I'm just curious, while I have it, I'm looking, Merck, not so nice. Pfizer, that one's holding up better than Merck right now. And then Lilly, trying to get back over the 10 SMA and Lilly. Next name we'll look at is a coal name, right? Coal, actually moving up here. Nice pop in coal. Maybe, not a lot of volume, 1.7 million. Just keep an eye on this one. I don't know what's going on here, CLD, but a few days up in a row, maybe some kind of red to green move on that name. Cliff, CLF, we talked about. CRM, nice looking daily here, trying to maybe get over this 98 spot on CRM, so held up nicely, holding this 10 SMA, so that'll be on watch. Possible swing trade there. CVE, a little bit of an oil, little bitty oil name, trying to get over this this 200 SMA. We came up here and failed. Not a bad candle today, 6.6 million shares. This was as high as $16. Let's see if we scroll. Yeah, about $16-17, and starting to maybe turn back up, but it would have to get over this 200 SMA. DELT, this one popped today, trying to get back over the 200 SMA and that $1.50 mark. So we'll see how it sets up intraday. Just keep in mind the 200 SMA is right above, and that number is $1.53 on that for the 200 SMA. DEST, up a couple of days in a row, riding the 5 EMA, needs to get over this 250 spot on DEST apparel stores. So watch it if it can break out over this 250 spot. There might be a move in that intraday. ECYT, we had this move down, and we held this 425 area, 435 area. Now we're trying to get back over, 5, and we'll see if it wants to do that tomorrow, back over the 10 SMA. So we'll see. GNMX, big pop in this name. This one popped almost above $2 today, so this will be on watch for possible intraday. INPX, excuse me, another one of these under 50-cent names, but above the moving averages here and starting to turn up. 2.3 million shares traded, so if it get over that 51 cents, that one might go if you like to play those. LBIX, big pops here up to like 350, 375, pull back, and now maybe trying to get back over 250 on LBIX, still holding above the 10 and hugging the 5 EMA. LEN, home builder that's trying to get over $57 a share. Toll Brothers broke out today. KBH had a big run. PHM also had a nice pop today. CAA, nice pop today. So maybe LEN wants to follow. So keep your eye on this LEN if it can get over that 57 mark. LINU, this one is basically flagging, I guess you would call it, or in consolidation, trying to get back over this maybe 230 spot on LINU, so keep your eye on that. Mankind popped up to $7 recently, now pulled back, quite a pullback down to the 20 SMA. If it can get back over maybe 405, maybe we get a turn back up on that name on Mankind. Next up is NEOT. This one was a big pop, pulled back, still holding above the 5 EMA at this 116 level. If it gets back over maybe that 125 NEOT, it might reverse and turn back up. 3.9 million shares. NETE, this one holding above the 50 SMA. Popped up to about that $6 level, so it looks like there's some resistance here at $6, so keep that one on watch. Possible intraday setup. PRAN, big pop today, so we'll see if this sets up intraday. 1.1 million shares on PRAN. PSTI, this one holding the 5 EMA, trying to get back over that $1.85 spot, so that might set up intraday. PTN, once again, this is an under $1 name. It's been very strong, bounced off of the 20 SMA here. Let's see if this one wants to maybe get up through that 90 and then up through $1. RGSE, nice pop today. We actually traded this one in the service, trying to get up over this 270, 275 area on RGSE. SGMO, after this big run up, pulls back to the 50 SMA. So maybe if it gets back over, 1410 or so, SGMO might reverse. But once again, with the Celgene news, this is a biotech, so I'm not sure if tomorrow it's going to happen. Skechers, SKX, ugly daily chart, but as you can see here in the after hours on their earnings, the stock popped. So it's at 29.57, so that kind of puts us back all the way up here. All right, so 29.57. Wow, that is quite a move here. It puts us up around this area here on SKX. So I'm not saying I will trade it tomorrow, but maybe next week or something. SRAX, this was a big popper, moved up to almost $6 a share. It's pulled back now. It needs to get back over $4, $4.05 on SRAX. VALE, this came up on my block scan, and looking for this to get back over the 50 SMA perhaps. That's at 1042 or that 1050 area. May not happen tomorrow, but we'll keep it on watch. VKTX, big pop, looking for maybe like a red to green type of move there. XNet, XNET. Volume under a million shares, but holding this 5 EMA. Trying to get back over, maybe that 538 high today, closed at 525. So, maybe over 538, 540. We'll see how it sets up intraday on XNET. That's it for the watch list. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Zozo StockWatch, and thank you for being subscribers to the YouTube channel. Please hit that like button if these videos are helping you. Also, please, if you're a new subscriber, please hit that subscribe button, and that would greatly be appreciated. And thank you so much for listening. Have a great Friday trading, and come join me at the service, zozostockwatch.com. Thank you so much.